Mr. Slough by Roger Hargreaves. Mrs. Slough, as you may well know, or perhaps you don't, lived next door to Mr. Bizzo. He built his house himself. Slowly. It taken him 10 years. And as you may well know, or perhaps you don't, Mrs. Slough talked in an extraordinarily slow way. He talked like this. And every single thing he did was as slow as the way he talked. For instance, if Mr. Slough was writing this book about himself, you wouldn't be able to read it yet. He wouldn't even have got as far as this page. For instance, if Mr. Slough was eating a currant cake for tea, it took him until bedtime. He'd eat it crumb by crumb, currant by currant, chewing each crumb and each currant 100 times. For instance, last Christmas, it took Mr. Slough until New Year's Day to open up his Christmas presents. And then it took him until Easter to write his thank you letters. Oh, he was a slow man. Now, this story isn't about the time when Mrs. Slough went on a picnic with Mr. Busy. That's another story. Now, this story is all about the time when Mrs. Slough decided to get a job. He read all the job advertisements in the Sunday paper, which took him until Wednesday. And then he got himself a job reading the news on television. Could you imagine? It's very embarrassing. Good evening, said Mrs. Slough. Here is the 9 o'clock news. This is Mr. Slough reading it. Last night, in Nonsense Land, there was a heavy fall of yellow snow. Took him until midnight to read it, and everybody was watching went to sleep. So that job wasn't any good, was it? Then Mr. Slough got himself a job as a taxi driver. "Take me to the railway station," cried Mr. Aberdeen, as he loaded into his taxi. "Have a train to catch at 3 o'clock. "Right, oh," said Mr. Slough, and set off. 1 mile an hour. He arrived at the station at 4 o'clock, so that job wasn't any good, was it? And that summer, Mr. Slough got himself a job making ice cream. But by the time he made the ice cream, he wasn't the right sort of fellow to be selling ice cream. So Mr. Slough got himself a job making woolly scarves. But by the time he finished making the scarves, it wasn't exactly the right sort of weather to be selling scarves. Phew! Poor Mr. Slough. He went round to ask the other Mr. Men what he should do, but they weren't very helpful, to say the least. "Be a racing driver!" suggested Mr. Silly. Can you imagine? No. "Be an engine driver!" suggested Mr. Funny. Could you imagine? No. "Be a speedboat driver!" suggested Mr. Tickle. "Hoo-hoo!" Could you imagine? No. But then Mr. Happy had an extremely good idea. Most sensible. Be a steamroller driver. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo, he suggested. And today that is exactly what Mrs. Slough does. Slowly backwards and slowly forwards he drives. Up and down, down and up. Ever so slowly. So the next time you see a steamroller doing that, look and see if Mrs. Slough is driving it. If he is, you call out to him, "Hello, Mrs. Slough. Having a nice time?" And he'll wave and call back to you. Yes, thank you, he'll call. Good. Bye.
Mr. This and Mr. That are dropping by for a friendly chat to show you round the Mr. World. Who knows when you're gonna meet that funny little fella with the small round feet? Don't you know they're all about you? Climb down, sit down, pull up a chair. Can't you see the Mr. Men are everywhere? You must not miss your friend.